Here's the stack coming out of the lean-to. There's a lot of weight on this baby. A lot of weight. We've had a fair amount of snow. So you can see how much snow we've had. Now next time I'm going to do away with the blue tarp and just use military tent halves for the whole thing. That way it'd be green and less noticeable. And you can make a less of a pitch if you have something to keep the rain out. The reason they make a hard pitch is so the rain runs off the pine boughs. But you know, if you have the material, you can make a longer pitch and have more room. You know, if I was really going to be out here a lot, I'd shovel some of that snow off. Snowshoes are a lifesaver in a survival situation. There's a lot. It's knee deep out here. But you can see how easy it is to collect firewood. You know, look at all the little dead pine. I mean, there's wood everywhere that you can just go snap off and break, and you're not breaking your back with big round logs. You know, I do have some of those here for if we have a fire out here, which is always fun. But and keep your dogs fat. Huh, Brady? Yeah. Alright, so here I am in the lean-to for a live test of the wood stove. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about survival, they talk about building a lean-to with a steep pitch and then building a bonfire in front of it to keep warm. Problem with that is you spend all day collecting firewood just to keep warm all night. So with this, I mean, that's great if you get stuck in the woods, but if you're planning on a long-term survival situation, you can collect wood that's this big and a little bigger. You know, spend a few hours collecting wood and you keep warm, and you can build a lean-to with less of a pitch and fit more people in. I have to think about 4 people in my family. You want to come in, Brady? Hold on. Come in. The dog's getting cold. So, I need a way to keep all 4 people and a dog warm, huh? You want to keep warm, Brady? Yes, you do. So, let me see how this warms up the lean-to. It's already starting to warm up in here. We'll close off a couple flaps, a couple holes. You know, the goal is to stay above freezing and not be 80 degrees, but that wouldn't hurt either. And these are military tent halves I have draped over the front, and then of course they have snaps, so you can snap down the middle for a door or just to keep it closed. So I'm going to keep this thing cranking for a little while and see how much it warms up. It's pretty nice out. It's about 25 degrees outside, so it shouldn't be too hard to stay warm in here with that. So this has been going for about a half an hour, and it's warm in here. I should have brought a thermometer, but I would say, you know, over here it's very warm on this side. But you know, I would be in here. I'm in here with sweatpants and a light jacket, and before too long, I think the jacket's going to come off. You know, be nice once this was in here for a few hours. You know, all this little snow that's in here would start drying, melting, and the ground would become drier. You know, it would just be more cozy as time goes on. And it could be blizzarding outside, raining. You know, 40-mile-an-hour winds. Who cares? Because we have 4-sided shelter, and that in a survival situation is great. So I'll probably hang out and burn the rest of this wood up and just see how warm we can get her. Well, I've been gathering wood for quite a while for the wood stove and haven't ventured any further from there to here. So there's plenty of fuel. I don't know if you can see the smoke coming out of the stack there. So, chopping up all my wood. Radio for communications. Been pretty quiet today, but there's a new event, the dog chewing on a stick. Are you chewing on a stick? Is it good? Were you gonna cry when I brought you in the lean-to because it was so warm? Were you so happy? Huh? Alright, so one thing I figured out is you need pieces this big or bigger once you've got a good bed of coals in there, because if you keep using stuff like this, you can't regulate the heat very well because it just gets raging in there. So you want to get bigger pieces. So I think even, you know, twice the size of this, if it was split, would be just fine. That way you can regulate the heat better, and it, you know, you're not filling it constantly. So load that up with some big pieces. Let's see how that goes. You'll also notice the side over here is caved in just a hair, so hopefully it doesn't get any worse than that. I did have this thing going pretty hot, and I don't know if you can see it, but right there it's caved in some. Same thing on this side. Alright. Now that I've moved to the bigger wood, it's much easier to control the flame. I can either bank it right down or get it good and hot. With the little stuff, it's always going, raging, even if you close the air mostly off. So once you get it going, which is good, you know, move to the bigger stuff, you don't have to fill it as often, you can control it much better. I think I'm going to try a damper. And see how that works. Not quite sure. I mean, if I can dampen it, I should be able to really control it a lot better. Because right now it's not too hot. I've mellowed it down quite a bit. So we live and learn. I think if, you know, there's a lot of holes in this lean-to, you can see. You know, it's certainly not airtight or draft tight just because I threw this up quickly. And you know, if I was in here overnight, I certainly would take the time to button it up and get the wind from coming through, you know, as much as possible, and raise the temperature. It's not as hot in here as I thought it would be, but I would certainly stay alive and be able to heat stuff up, melt snow, warm my feet up, stay above freezing. So here's what it looks like on the front. This is the front of the lean-to. It's all the canvas tent has. And you go inside, and There's the wood. Ooh, it's nice and warm in there. Wow. Woohoo! So here's another major design flaw. This is why you have to do this stuff. You can't just expect to learn it and not do it. What I've done is I put the wood stove against this side wall, and my thought process was not much heat radiates off the back, so I figured it'd go, against that back wall. But what's happening is there's heat radiating mostly off of this side over here and this side over here, and that heat's going up against this. And it's almost wasted heat. So I think next time I try it, and cool the stove down, I'm going to put it in the middle of the lean-to right here. That way, when it radiates heat off of both sides, I think it's going to do a much better job heating this place up. Not that it's doing poorly now, but you want to get the most out of it. So a lot of heat's going into that canvas right there. And it's almost wasted heat. So I think I'm going to get a lot more heat if I put it in the center of the lean-to. You get the heat off the front and both sides, and the back will be facing this canvas door. So I think I'm going to let it cool down, patch that hole in the roof, and try it again. See how we go. So I took down the tent halves, moved the wood stove to the center with the back facing the canvas. Went and got some more wood. We'll give this a whirl, see if it does any better. Alright, this design works much better. Much better. Now I'm getting heat on this side and the front, and the area that doesn't get hot much is facing that canvas. Much better. I hung the canvas up better, so now there's fewer gaps in the stuff in the walls. So this works out much better. Now we're styling. I got the canvas all nice and tight. So got a nice wall there. That's the only hole I got left to patch right there. I patched the old hole where the chimney used to be. So now we're nice and tight. And a little hole right there I need to get.